Hello there and welcome to At Home with Rhonda. It's been a while. I am kind of still getting over the holidays. What about you? Have you taken all of your Christmas decorations down already? I have, but I've left just a couple things up, and I think I'm going to leave them up for January, just so that I can enjoy them as long as I can. I still have my Christmas tree up, which was kind of a new and improved Christmas tree this year, and then outside I have this big lighted Christmas tree that just kind of greets me every time we come down the driveway at night. So I'm going to leave that up for a little while. Anyway, I didn't come here today to talk to you about Christmas decorations, but what I am doing is I'm making peach enchiladas today. So I have some really special company coming today or tonight for dinner, and I was trying to think, what do I want to cook for dessert? Well, I don't know, it's been a while, but I made some peach enchiladas for a small group one time, and it was a huge hit. Very simple. I guess it wouldn't be quite so simple if you were using fresh peaches. However, I am using the lucky version of the canned fruit filling or topping. So I am using the peaches today, and actually you can get this brand just about in anything, you know, raspberries, peaches, of course, and blackberries and cherries. I think it comes in cherries as well. Great brand, and it's kind of a larger can too, so I like that. Anyway, I've already got 3 peach enchiladas made, but I thought I would tune in and show you the last couple that I'm working on. So very simple, very few ingredients. The main ingredient, because we're making enchiladas, is you have to have tortillas, right? So I like the Mission style. I know that there are many other brands out there, but I like this. So I get the large ones. If you don't want to have very large tortillas, you can go with kind of a medium or small size, but that's not what I'm doing today. So I think I'm going to be able to get about maybe 7, maybe 8. We'll see what we're going to do. But the first thing is I just take my tortilla and I make sure that there's no crinkles or anything like that in there. And then I have a basting brush. And this is another little advertisement that I'll make. If you have never used a butter bell, I absolutely love it. Now, if you're in the South, it will be a struggle to keep the butter from going bad during the summertime because we have such humidity and heat. But during the whole winter, you put your softened butter in there, and then the bottom of it, the base mine looks like this, and you basically fill it up, not quite half full of cold water, and then when you're done, after you have served, let me fix that real quick. After you have served the butter and you're ready to store it, it goes just like this on your counter. And so the butter actually sits down into the water and it keeps it fresh. So of course, you want to make sure that you change your water out very frequently to keep your butter fresh. And it just keeps it. So if you need soft butter, spreadable butter, there you go. So I'm just going to use my little basting brush here. Let's see, I'm hoping you can see me. And I'm just going to very lightly, let's turn this around here. Here we go. I'm going to very lightly baste the top of my tortilla with some butter. And again, I'm not caking it on here. I'm just doing a light base. And then I have a sprinkle container here. If you need one of these, I'm sure you can find it on Amazon, or just go to your local thrift store. That's where I find a lot of my stuff. But I have it kind of a mixture. It says cinnamon sugar. And I'm just going to sprinkle a little light coating on that, and we'll put more on the very top of them. And then the next thing is I'm going to get my peaches, and you know, I'm not going to tell you the amount. You just eyeball it. I put about, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 peaches, something like that. You want to make sure that you have some of that goo, that yummy, sugary goo on there. So I'm going to put about 5 peaches on this one. And I just put it in the middle like this. And then when I get ready to roll it, I flip it over. And I'm going to just, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm just going to kind of press that back like that. And you just simply roll it. Okay, and then you want to put it seam side down, just like so. And let me get another tortilla here. We'll do a couple more. I'm going to do that again. And see, I've got some crinkles here at the bottom of my tortilla. So you want to kind of spread that out. And again, I'm going to lightly baste it with some butter. That's going to give, because you know everything is better with butter, y'all, right? I think that was a Paula Deen saying a long time ago, but it's so true. Everything is better with butter. And it helps my cinnamon sugar to stick. So there's a multi-purpose here. So I'm just going to lightly sprinkle with my cinnamon sugar. Guys, this is so delicious. It's so easy and it's so delicious. I can't tell you. And I'm going to serve it with vanilla bean ice cream. It's out of this world. You can put cherry pie filling in here. Whatever flavor floats your boat, you can do that. So here we want to put our peaches. Peaches is just one of my favorite fruits. I just love peaches. I love peach everything. It's just so delicious. So again, you just want to eyeball it. You want to have enough, but you don't want to have too much. So now I'm just going to flip that over. And hold the phone. We have a delivery apparently. Yes, it's the UPS store. So I am just going to do that. And then you just kind of want to slide back and just kind of press it in so that when you roll it, you're not rolling a great big, you know, you want it to be kind of thin. You don't want there to be a lot of air in there. So there we go. Gonna do that. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I can fit one more in here, which will be kind of perfect. 6 will be plenty, and then you can actually cut them in half when you get ready to serve it, and it will go a little bit further. So once again, one more time we'll do this. I'm going to just put a light layer of butter here. There we go. My tortilla is trying to tear, so I'm gonna glue it down with some butter. What do you think? And then I'm gonna sprinkle it with my cinnamon sugar here. Gosh, I can taste this already. It's so good. And this is going to be just about perfect, with maybe a couple of peaches left over to eat out of the can. What do you say? Would you do that? Would you just eat it right out of the can? I can tell you, see, I've got 2 little peaches and some goo, some sugary goo that I can eat afterwards. So, and again, very simple. Now, I'm actually preparing this a few hours beforehand because I'm going to make this sugary syrup that I will give you the recipe, and you want to pour it over there and let it sit and soak over the tortillas for a few hours. So I'm going to do that, but I'll have to break this into a couple little videos so that I can do that. So I'm just going to press that, kind of move that back. I don't know if you can see me doing that. And then I'm going to poke that little peach in there, and we're going to roll it and put that last one right there. Now, technically, if I needed more, I could make another one and, you know, press it into that, but we really don't need that. So I'm going to put these in there like that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my baster, because again, you know, the butter helps everything to stick. So I'm just going to baste the top right here. This baster is so old, I cannot even tell you how long I have had this thing, but it has been forever. It is pretty frayed, but hey, that's when it's working good. Not coating it on right now. I'm just putting a nice thin layer right there. I have sprayed my baking pan with Pam so that as everything gets hot and bubbly, it's not going to stick. And now I'm going to get my cinnamon sugar, and I'm just going to liberally shake that on there because, you know, the cinnamon sugar is just going to make it yummy. Okay? Gosh, I'm going to have to make some more. And so that's what I do basically is I take a bowl. When this is empty, I'll take a bowl, make me up another batch, pour it in there, and I'm good to go. So I'm going to have to come back here in a few minutes. I have to put together my ingredients to make a solution that we're going to pour over this to soak. And so I'll be back in just a minute. Hey y'all, I am back and we are getting ready to make the sauce to go over my peach enchiladas. So the first thing, now we don't have to have softened butter for this, so I'm going to take a half a stick, and if you are familiar with cooking measurements, on a stick of butter is a half a cup. Half of a stick of butter, of course, is a quarter cup. So there's a little dash on here that tells me what is a third cup. I need a third cup of butter. So I am just going to cut on that line, and we're going to put that stick right here. Go ahead and turn on my burner here. Okay, get that going. And then I also need a third cup of white sugar, granulated sugar, and I need a half a cup, excuse me, did I say a third cup? Half a cup of white sugar, half a cup of brown sugar. So we're going to do that, level that off. We're going to put that in there, and this is going to be our glaze that's going to go over it. Now, anytime that you're cooking with brown sugar, almost every single recipe always says to, when you're doing your brown sugar, is to press it. You know, it's not just loose. So I'm going to press that in, make sure I get a good half a cup there. All right, and now, and then a half a cup of water. So I'm going to pour that in, and we're just going to let that melt. It's not going to take long. I need something to stir this with. Let's see what I'm going to use today. Oh, I know what I need. I don't know about you, but in my kitchen, I love silicone. That is my new favorite thing, whether it's utensils, cupcake, you know, the cupcake pans that you can use. But all you have to do with this sauce is you want to bring it up to a little simmer. You want it to simmer. Let's see what the recipe says. It says comes to a boil, and then you want to reduce it and just let it simmer for about 3 minutes. And as it's simmering, it's going to thicken up a little bit before you pour it. Not a whole lot, but it will thicken up a bit before you pour that onto your enchiladas. So I'm going to bring this up to a boil, and I'll be right back. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys are having a great day today. What are you cooking today? What's for dinner? Maybe it's dinner out, and that's okay. But sometimes it's just fun to have a cozy dinner at home, right? So we'll see you in just a minute. Okay, y'all, I think we are just about there. So, yeah, it just started to boil. Now, let me just give you a word of caution. Anytime you're making glazes and things like this, it will have the tendency to boil over really, really quick. So, what I do to keep that from happening is I lift my handle up. So I let it simmer and I let it boil. I don't know if you can see that. But then I lift it up, and if it doesn't die down, just lift the whole pot up. But I've turned it told me in the directions, as soon as it comes to a boil, to reduce the heat and let it simmer for about 3 minutes. So I don't want this to boil over, so I'm just going to keep lifting up. Yeah, it's hot. I've got it on simmer right now, but it's going to take a minute for my oven, or excuse me, for my stovetop to cool down a little bit. That's the difference between using an electric stove and a gas stove. I actually prefer to use a gas stove because you can control the heat so much better. If you have electric, you know, I've turned it all the way down to simmer, but it's going to have to take a minute to calm down. So, but if you had gas, I could turn it down and I could get the temperature perfect. Some people were afraid to use gas, but I've used it many, many, many years, 30 some years, and I actually do prefer it. I love it. You just, you know, you want to be careful. So of course, this whole 3 minutes is going to be just lifting, kind of letting it simmer with the pot somewhat lifted off the burner because it's just really, really hot. So we're just going to let that simmer now it's finally starting to settle down. Not quite. Anyway, I'm just going to let that simmer for a minute, and then we're going to pour it over my enchiladas, and we're going to let them sit until I'm ready to cook them this afternoon. And all of that glaze, all of those juices are going to soak into those enchiladas, and it's just going to be delicious. So what is your favorite foods? Do you love sweets as much as I do? They definitely are my favorite. I mean, I love all foods, but I absolutely love desserts. I love making them. I love eating them. I love sharing them. What is your favorite food? Would you prefer a steak over peach enchiladas? Would you prefer, you know, a salad? I mean, what kind of foods do you like? I wish you would talk to me out there. Tell me what your favorite foods are. I'd love to be able to chat with you. So I think we're about ready. And you can just tell, you know, you can tell when you take your spoon or your ladle, and you can just see that it's starting to thicken up. It's not like completely leaving the spatula that I'm using. So we're just going to let that just a little bit more until that thickens up. You don't want it to be thick, but you want it to thicken up a little bit so that all the goodness just doesn't run, you know, all the way to the bottom of the casserole dish that you're using. Okay, so here we are. Can you see that? That's where we're at right now. We're going to do a little low simmer, and I think we're going to be good. Okay. All right, y'all, I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to turn it off, flip it off, whatever you want to you want to say. And then very, very carefully, because remember, this is very hot liquid, so very carefully, you just want to evenly pour all of this liquid all over. And what I would recommend is don't pour it all, just, you know, kind of keep going back and forth like this until you get everything soaked and saturated. And use that spatula, especially if you've got silicone, you want all of it. It's good stuff. Okay. And I probably could call it good at this point, but I think I'm trying to decide if I want to put a little bit more. I'm gonna get a spoon here. Trying to decide if I want to put more cinnamon on here. I might do that before I cook it. So now I'm gonna get the spoon, and I'm just going to make sure that there are no dry spots on these enchiladas. Make sure everything is covered, because if it's not soaked with the glaze when you cook it, all of those parts that are dry, they're going to be hard and crusty, and you know, it's edible, but it's not going to be delicious. You want everything to be kind of soaked and saturated with that sauce here, that cinnamon sugar sauce. So we're just going to do that a couple more times. Make sure, especially the ends. I find that that's where I usually miss, is on the ends of the enchiladas. They usually, for whatever reason, if I have missed a spot, that is usually the place. So you can look at it and you can see those areas that look like that they're still a little white around the edges. And as you do this, I'm finding there's less and less of the sauce, you know, because now it's soaking into my enchiladas, so there's not as much pulling at the ends here. All right, I think we're good. So now I'm going to put a piece of foil over this, and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator, and I'm going to let it sit for probably 2:30, 3:30, 4:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30, 5:30. So about 3 hours, 2.5 hours, something like that. And then I'll take it out. I'll probably take it out 30 minutes before I want to cook it, just so it's not so cold. So anyway, I'll be back and I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. Have a good one, y'all. Okay, y'all, the time has come. My peach enchiladas are done. I'm about 15 minutes from our guest arriving, but I wanted to real quick show you what these looked like. Look at that. Heavenly goodness. Oh my goodness. So I have continued to take my little baster here, and you just want to baste all of that goodness. And as it cools, right now it's still kind of hot, but as it cools, all of that glaze is going to thicken up really good. And again, if you want to cut it in half, you can do that. I'm not going to do that. It's only going to be 4 of us tonight, but look at that. Yes, that is absolutely amazing. Top it with some vanilla bean ice cream and you are good to go, and your guests are going to love it. I hope mine does. I'm sure they will. Anyway, thank you for listening today and watching today and tuning in. I hope that you will try your hand at making some peach or cherry or blackberry enchiladas, and that you'll realize it's not hard. It's not. So make it yummy, make it good, and you have a good day. We'll talk to you later. God bless.